My name is Richard Moon, and I'm an elementary school music teacher in Charleston, South Carolina. I would like to discuss with you a unique way to teach improvisation to young students using the iPad and/or electric piano. What I'm going to talk about is really more of a process than a traditional curriculum. When you think about it, students really have to learn or teach themselves how to improvise, since the learning process is such a hands-on experience. In this process, the teacher takes on more of a role of a facilitator that steers the instruction using the strategies and tools I'll be giving you in this presentation. It starts out as a game I call Smackdown, teaching the students the rules they need in order to win the game. By doing this, they will pick up some basic fundamentals for improvising solos and pick up some guidelines and/or restrictions that enable students to feel comfortable playing the game. To start with, we take all aspects of an improvisation melody off the table except for one: how to construct or shape an interesting improvisation melody rhythmically. On a black and white keyboard, I initially suggest the students start in the treble clef area. I also strongly recommend that students do not start in the lower register, and that'll be interfering with the bass line, and it'll end up kind of sounding a bit muddy. Also, on a black and white keyboard, you either play all black or all white keys. When I select the song for the Smackdown game, I will figure out whether a basic pentatonic or a general major or minor scale will sound best, and then figure out the transposition settings to set up either a basic E flat minor or black key or A minor for white keys, improvisation. In this way, if a soloist plays on the correct color keys, almost any note the soloist chooses will sound correct. With the iPad, we use the gray keyboard by choosing the appropriate key and the scale format that best suits the target song. The gray keyboard on an iPad is technology's version of an ORF instrument. You only use or see the keys from the 12-note chromatic scale that you need for any given song. This makes improvisation much easier for your students, since the black and white color keys don't get in the way, or they don't have to try and figure out which key you can or cannot use. The big main rule for both iPads and traditional black and white keyboards in Smackdown is no skipping. A soloist can start on any key of the correct color, but can only go either one key to the right, one key to the left, or stay on the same key. Beyond that, it is a matter of shaping your improvisation melody using the no skipping rule and a series of tiebreakers as a way of stealthily introducing your students to additional aspects to consider in order to enhance their improvisation melodies. It is important to set up a competition atmosphere in Smackdown, 1, to motivate students to try to do their best, and 2, establish the significance of the elimination tournament atmosphere which it creates. Just like the NCAA basketball brackets, which kids really relate to, there has to be a single winner each round of the tournament. This sets up the necessity of the tiebreaker rules, which we will be adding, helping to expand and fine-tune the children's skills with keyboard improvisation. Since only one student can advance each round, the teacher will need to add, and in some cases, even create their own new tiebreaker categories. When you start off, one or both of the competitors will probably skip, making the teacher's job easier. About halfway through the first round, they'll begin to catch on, and eventually you'll need to make your first tiebreaker decision. The first tiebreaker will normally be which of the two students play the most interesting and creative melodies without repeating rhythms. If the concept of syncopation has not been introduced to your kids yet, this would be an excellent opportunity to do so. As we all know, syncopated rhythms are a key component in most improvisation solos. The second tiebreaker is usually which competitor plays the widest range or how low or high they go on their keyboard. If a student plays a solo and only uses two adjacent keys, he or she cannot possibly skip, but what a boring solo it's going to be. On an iPad, when this particular tiebreaker is needed, the teacher should show the students how to change from the glissando to the scroll mode and give them time to practice this transition and how they can use it in their solos. As the students improve, it'll get tougher and tougher to make a decision on who should win each round. When this happens, select a new category that will help you differentiate the two competitors that just played and introduce it as a new tiebreaker for our game. Once a tiebreaker is introduced to the class, you can go back to it at any time and use it to help you explain and justify your selection of the winner for any given round. The next tiebreakers that might be used I refer to as enhancers. These include the concepts of variety, velocity, and silence. Variety refers to using a wide range of different rhythms and avoiding repeating as many as possible. To put it in the student vernacular, you gotta play different beats. Velocity is using fast rhythms, slow rhythms, and everything in between. What we are really talking about is using a wide range of note durations. However, it is easier for children to relate to the speed rather than the length of a sound. Silence is the effective utilization of the absence of sound. I avoid using the term rest because, well, kids think of taking a nap, and in some cases, many of them do. I suggest that they simply take a break every once in a while and give the audience's ears a chance to rest. As we add these, one at a time, gradually expanding our tiebreaker repertoire, our students acquire more tools to help them differentiate and shape their improvisation melodies. After you've worked on the enhancers for a while, we are next ready to add blues notes. On the traditional black and white keyboard, it is normally the A for black key improvisation and an E flat for white key improvisation. On the iPad, this is all taken care of using the scale format window, activated by the scale button located in the middle of the screen selection bar. If you go from the pentatonic to the blues scale format, you'll automatically be adding one note, which will be the blues note for that particular key. The problem with blues notes is you need to use them sparingly. If you use the blues pitch every time you pass it going up and down the keyboard, it'll soon lose its effect. With continual use, it will eventually start having a negative impact on your melody, making it sound old, overused, or even boring. Developing a feel for an appropriate number of times to use the blues note is essential for creating quality improvisation melodies. Learning the best time to use or not use the blues note comes through continuous trial and error experimenting whenever you get a chance to improvise. Remember our most important rule in the Smackdown game? That's right, no skipping. Now is the time to allow students to sparingly break rule number 1 to accommodate our blues note dilemma. However, by this time, the sound of a good solo and muscle memory of not skipping are so ingrained in your students that skipping probably will no longer be a concern. Also, as you increase the number of tiebreakers in your students' repertoire, the less you will need to strictly adhere to the original Smackdown game format. Teachers can adjust or change the game structure to fit the present needs of their class or ensemble. Another important tool in this improvisation learning process is Jammin with the pros. This part of the process can actually be introduced to your students whenever you feel they are ready for it. Jammin with the pros is a tool that you'll eventually want to separate from the original game of Smackdown. However, only use the tiebreaker elements you've introduced to your students up to that point when doing it. The majority of the material I have used, I've gotten through my subscription of K8 Magazine. Teresa and Paul Jennings do a fantastic job of writing music that is fun and exciting for the elementary and middle school age student. Although it is initially written and recorded for vocal performance, every song on the CD that comes with it has a vocal track and an instruments-only track. As a resource for learning improvisation, those instrument-only tracks are worth their weight in gold. Paul and Teresa use a collection of some of the finest jazz musicians in the central Wisconsin area to record these tracks, which are of the highest quality both musically and from a production standpoint. Having your students improvise with these great arrangements while playing alongside some of the finest instrumentalists in the Midwest are two of the key elements that help facilitate your students' learning and to teach themselves how to improvise. Songs can be purchased from K8 Magazine individually, and I have all the data needed for pre-setup of both electric keyboards and iPads. I also use and have posted a collection of copyright-free arrangements from the Creative Commons. I can get them out to you, or you can pick them up from Google Classroom. I will post the Google Classroom code later on in this presentation. The final tool, very important in helping students teach themselves how to improvise, I refer to as the keyboard's secret weapon. It gives your students the gift of fast fingers. In other words, the superpower of instant and unlimited technique on a traditional keyboard. I will reveal what the secret weapon is a little further down the line, but it is a game changer. Next, I want to cover each individual aspect of this presentation in a little more detail in future YouTube presentations. If you would like to check out any of my materials, listen to my tech/keyboard ensemble playing arrangements I have written, or listen to any Jammin with the Pro sessions I recorded, visit the Goodwin Elementary School website. The students in my ensembles were 4th and 5th graders, and for the past 3 years or so, I've also recorded all of our Jammin with the Pro sessions. In this way, students could go onto the school website and listen to their performance, and then prepare for the next jam session. If you are interested in a different approach to the study of improvisation for young children, please check out the cumulative effect of this improvisation process by visiting my website and listening to some of the marvelous work done by these students. I have been a music teacher for 42 years now and have taught from kindergarten through college. At the end of this school year, I will be retiring. What concerns me most is what is going to happen to all this material I've accumulated over many years on my school's website. I have put well over 1,000 hours, not only regarding GarageBand, electric keyboards, and improvisation, but other aspects of music education as well. Since I am retiring, on July 1st, the district will be deleting my school address and my website. So if you might be interested in anything I've presented to you so far, check it out soon. Copy or download what you might want while it is still there. Most of the material is also posted in a PDF format. I am trying to find another music educator with similar interests whose district also uses School Messenger that houses their school's website. I have permission to migrate my web content to another site, but only if it's hosted by West or School Messenger. This is for security purposes. If your school has a 1-to-1 student to iPad ratio and you're interested in using GarageBand, the entire curriculum that I have written up to date is on the website with content that ranges from kindergarten through high school. If you wish to contact me, use my school address. I will close out for now, realizing that YouTube has a 15-minute time limit on presentations, and I'm not sure where I exactly stand right now, time-wise. Hopefully, I'll be talking with you again in the near future. As far as the next session, well, we're at the close of the school year and things are really hectic, with me trying to pack up all my stuff and all. I will get to another installment as soon as I can. So for now, take care and have a great end of the school year.